All right. Well, welcome everybody. This is the last session of the day. We always save the best for last, except if any other presenters are listening, then that's false. This is no, but just for Mike's benefit, we're gonna say he's the best for last. So, I am really excited about this though. We have a lot of sessions today that have covered various things, and all those are going to be recorded and put online at a later date. So if you ever need to reference those or share them with people that weren't able to attend today, you can go to levelmeupnow.com and get all of those sessions. But today has been all about trying to get high school students prepared for collegiate esports and to make themselves marketable. But this session is really interesting because I don't think people think as much about the fitness aspect of esports and about the mental health and the physical health and eating habits and all those sorts of things, because there tends to be a stereotype about esports that, well, you're going to be, in your basement eating junk food, playing video games all night, you're a computer science major. Like there's this sort of notion. Now, just because I'm a computer science major that is a little bit chubby and likes snacks doesn't mean that that's everybody. And so, and also if you start there, you don't have to end there. So Mike Anderson, he's a president and co-founder of Fit Gamer. He has done a variety of things. I read your bio and it's like, what haven't you done? It's like you seem to be doing all sorts of different stuff. And he is going to be talking today about how to develop those strategies for healthy gaming habits, how to develop a healthy lifestyle while you're also participating in esports. And so, Mike, thank you so much for being here, and I'm going to turn it over to you.
Great. Thanks. I really appreciate being here. Thanks to you all for tuning in. I want to make sure that you realize, those of you listening, watching, that there is not a causal relationship between playing video games or being an esport athlete and poor health. Correlation does not apply causation. So there's no causative thing there. There are tendencies and stereotypes, and stereotypes often are stereotypes for a reason, because things may hold true when looking at some systems that go over long periods of time. And perhaps the video game playing world did develop in basements overnight, staying up, eating junk food, drinking Mountain Dew, and perhaps getting a lot less physical activity than your counterparts who went outside to play traditional sports. But again, video game ability level particularly is not causative of poor health. And today I'm going to talk to you about our company Fit Gamer, the organization that really brings health, wellness, fitness, and well-being to esports and video game playing at all levels, from the top echelon of professional esport athletes who are being paid top dollar, traveling around the world, moving between teams in Europe and South America, Asia, back to North America to play for some of these organizations. You see Cloud9 is the one that I'm most directly related to now. But all the way down, if we're talking about levels of the most elite, to the people that just play for fun when they're, on a flight somewhere on their mobile phone, right? So the gaming world that Fit Gamer is intended to come in contact with is anyone who identifies themselves as someone who plays games, electronic games. So I'll go back just for a moment and tell you that I'm Mike Anderson. Thanks, Josh, for the introduction. I'm a lifelong teacher, coach, and a lot of my background from, let's see, I was a K through 8 elementary school, mainly elementary school teacher for about 5 years. So I do have a K through 8 teaching credential, and I really always liked forging personal connections within a learning environment in a school. So I have taught in traditional schools as well as sort of progressive outdoor education type schools. I've also taught at every level from kindergarten, I did a stint, all the way up to the university level, and really everything in between. So I've taught, I've coached. At the university level, I was a physical education. I ran a physical education department at Pepperdine University on the Malibu campus of Pepperdine outside of Los Angeles. And currently I own a gym that is in that neighborhood, a fitness facility that's been open for about 15 years. And I'm still actively, teaching college level classes in physical education and sports medicine. At some points in my PE background, I was running the department there, and I've taught teaching methods for physical education. So if you're going to be a physical education teacher, You took my course that we went out and actually did practical information on and actually teaching classes. So a very experiential type thing. Over the years, my focus has become on doing what I can to stem the tide of chronic disease. And depending on who you talk to, if you're talking to a physical education specialist or those in the strength and conditioning world, we identify chronic disease as one of the, if not the world's most vexing problems. So how do we take this, how do we stem this rising tide of obesity, diabetes, this epidemic that is no longer just in the industrialized world, but it is increasingly evident across the globe, irrespective of the economic development of the country or of the area. And it's really important to notice that the United States really leads the way in chronic disease. So as a physical educator, as a teacher, my really most critical idea is to do what I can to, on any level. Most particularly, it was working with students and the members of my gym to do what I could do to reduce chronic disease by bringing fitness, health, strength and conditioning, well-being to the population. Approximately 6 years ago, I was introduced to the competitive esports world. I grew up playing Atari 2600, so quite a long way back, and I still really like mainly stand-up arcade games is my preference if I choose to compete in video games. Fistful of Quarters, for those of you that love documentaries related to the background in esports, is a great documentary that chronicles Donkey Kong, an especially competitive esport. But at some point about 6 years ago, I had someone offer me the possibility of coaching what I would consider a special population. Special populations that I've worked with in the past include professional athletes, those that currently play for pro and semi-pro teams, to professional athletes who are retired and in their 40s, 50s, and 70s. We have NFL and MLB players that currently come to the gym that I own. A special population is also working with little kids or kids with physical or mental disabilities, adults that suffer from chronic disease relating to anything from obesity to post-surgical stroke victims or people that have had knee and hip replacements. So I really like working with what other coaches and trainers may consider difficult populations because they don't follow the norm, right? While I did grow up playing all of the traditional sports, as well as soccer and cross country in college, I loved working with what we call in physical education. I loved work with taking someone from 0 to 1, rather than improve upon the most elite of the elite football players or track stars. Or I worked for quite a while with some Red Bull X Games type athletes, for like snowmobile drivers or pilots or skateboarders and snowboarders. So I really thrive on the 0 to 1, meaning if you can't do a pull-up now and have not been able to do one your entire life, I want to move you to 1 from 0. And that incremental jump is much more fun for me, much more interesting, and I think is much more challenging as well as rewarding for those that are involved. So when I was tasked with actually implementing a physical education program for a top esports team from a member of my gym who is a longstanding exercise science professor and who has worked with Red Bull High Performance for at least now over 15 years, at the time over a decade. I didn't really know the world of competitive esports, except for the stereotypes, which Josh has elucidated to us before, and you know what they are. My goal now in working with high performance esports, the long-term goal, as I said, is to stem the tide of chronic disease. But working with esport and gamers, I want to change the stereotype. So 10, 15, 20 years from now, when someone talks about being a lover of video games or being a professional esport athlete or belonging to the esports club at a campus recreation department, the picture that the listener will have in their mind is not of a basement and junk food. It will be of somebody who is of top mental condition, who is quick on their both mentally quick on their feet, as well as physically in physically good shape and is smart and has everything going for them. Like that's what I want to transform this special population of esport athlete to as we go along. And it's already happening. So I was taken to essentially the Red Bull physical training studios in Los Angeles, where I met with Cloud9 League of Legends team about just over 6 years ago. I was tasked with implementing a physical maintenance plan with this team. So basically take the top professional video game players, make them more physically fit and well, and they will play better. Now, I've done a similar talk with the American College of Sports Medicine, and that talk really was all about the ins and outs of how physically fit individuals will end up resulting in better performance within their game. For today, I don't want to dive into necessarily the mechanics of why does a top laner in League of Legends, or why does the main tank in a Valorant team or Overwatch team, why are they better at their game when they're more physically fit? I'm just going to have you make maybe a leap in logic that it is the case. And I'll talk about a couple of case scenarios and how and why I know that happens. There's a lot of good people out there doing research on the how and why of why physical cognition, why physical fitness, why mental cognition, why your sleep gets better, why you start making better food choices, why people tend to become less depressed, more happy, have better health outcomes when they are physically fit, and therefore why their in-game play actually improves. But for today, we'll just take that for granted. It does work, and I'll show you again some examples of how that works. So 6 years ago, I was brought in to work with the League of Legends team. And one of the great things was that the owner of Cloud9, Jack Etienne, who's over the years become a great friend, mentor, and a huge, really advocate for the Fit Gamer fitness program for not only his athletes, but anyone who plays video games. He basically said, you know, if I have an athlete who is physically fit, who is bought into this program of physical training, who works on their nutrition, who gets good sleep, and who's focused on making themselves physically and mentally healthier and better, and another player who is just exactly the same in terms of their ability in the game, I will take the player that's fitter. And I'll talk about the Fit Gamer app later, but I will take someone that has a Fit Gamer score over someone who is not going to work out. And to this day, when a player of any one of the teams from Cloud9, if they get a contract from Cloud9 that says they're going to be a member of one of their teams, you know, from CSGO to Smash, it's written into their contract that they are going to do a physical maintenance program that makes them physically fit, that helps them become better at the game. And of course, you may think, why would a professional video game player not want to do that? But it runs against sort of, again, the stereotype of the basements and the junk food. But again, that the tide is very slowly turning. It's not going to happen in 12 hours, but it's going to happen over the next 12 years. And so we'll say we're 6 years into it. So I've been working with Cloud9's teams, primarily League of Legends, it started out with. And essentially the program is to do physical maintenance, to work on nutrition, to work on mental health, to work on and address sleep, as well as other lifestyle behaviors that I'm going to address in just a second. What I'm going to do right now is pull up, looks like I'm pulling up the last slide in my presentation, but I'll move it down to the first one. Okay. Press start for not just a strong mind, but a strong body. Let's see. So there's this web of interconnectivity among these five, what Fit Gamer calls the 5 pillars of health. You see the picture here is me in the Cloud9 garage. This is one of their training centers for their athletes. I happen to be sitting with Hadi, who played with their London Spitfire for a number of years successfully. They were a team that essentially was an underdog that always played over their level because they had a leader on the team like Hadi, who over the years became extremely physically fit and an advocate for looking after his health and well-being because it helped him in the game. And I want to focus on that. The most important thing with the Fit Gamer program, the most important outcome is that you become better at your game. That's what we want to strive for. What we know can happen is that you can, and typically do, become more physically fit. You tend to eat better. Your metrics on all of these general quality of life indicators tend to go up. And those are byproducts of becoming better at the game by focusing on this web of interconnectivity. So the web here focuses on things that are focused on the negative. And so I'll bring to you this concept on the top of the screen. When you get poor sleep, your energy level is bad. So you don't want to do physical activity. When you don't get enough physical activity, you have a lack of motivation and you're potentially depressed. When you're depressed, you have more lack of motivation, which contributes to quality of life imbalances. Quality of life imbalances tend towards not eating very well. Not eating very well tends to mess up your sleep, tends to reinforce these patterns of behavior that encourage you to not get physical activity. So on the converse, on exactly the other side of the coin, when an athlete, when a video game athlete, when a League of Legends or a Valorant or an Overwatch player from Cloud9 goes to the 9 a.m. workout with the entire team, not just the 5 or 6 players that are on their squad, but with their coach, with their manager, with the data scientist, with the team psychologist, with the owner of the company. So it's not just a team of 5 that's working out together. It's the team of 5 plus 5 to 10, sometimes as many as a total of 22 individuals that are training together at this workout. How can you not sort of get psyched up to do some physical maintenance, is what we call it, to do a workout with people to get ready for the day? And that's exactly how the Cloud9, people often poke fun of the Cloud9 systems, but this is how the Cloud9 system begins at the beginning of the day, by getting some physical activity. When one gets physical activity, it actually will contribute to, right away in the morning, help with that poor sleep issue that you may have because you'll be more physically tired. Doing physical activity changes the mindset because it literally changes brain chemistry. When someone tends to be more positive with a more positive outlook in terms of a mind state, anxiety can decrease and so can brain fog. When anxiety and brain fog go away, people tend to make better choices, whether or not they're relating with other people. You are less prone to tilt. And when everything is going well, I like to say that this is a success to the successful feedback loop. So when things go well, you tend to make better choices. Like a player at one point said, well, I might as well stop eating like crap because I'm working out and I feel good. I mean, it's kind of a negative way to put a positive thing. Yeah. If you're doing things that are contributing to positive behaviors, to positive outcomes, to better in-game play, then it will tend to help you make better choices about that. So I might as well eat well. So that is the web of interconnectivity. And those are the 5 pillars of health upon which FitGamer bases what we do with everyone we work with. So after a couple of years of working with Cloud9's teams, the players became fitter. I'm going to fast forward. It's a pretty easy jump that when people do physical activity, and what I mean by physical activity, it's everything from pull-ups, push-ups, pushing sleds, lifting weights, getting cardio, riding rowers, running around the neighborhood. It is a traditional physical education program, but we in every single way are meeting players, are meeting athletes, are meeting even the staff, meeting the coaches exactly where they're at. So if someone can't run because they have a knee problem, we give them something else. If someone can't do a single pull-up, we're not going to force them to do, dozens of pull-ups in a workout. So this is what Fudge said about a year and a half ago after, actually it was 2 years ago now, a year and a half ago, because now we're in the mid-season split here. with the 10 a.m. workouts, it's hard to be a bad person. In the off season, I was being a complete degenerate. Then Jack messaged me, come to the 10 a.m. workout. Ever since then, I've been mentally clear. I'm a great person. I love my life. It's the off season. I'm relaxing. So Fudge has made an incredible personal transformation when you look at something as, well, I'll call it as vain as his physical transformation. So if you look at him in the picture above, he happens to be in the LCS studios there, probably the first split that he trained, that he was with Cloud9, that he was doing the physical maintenance program. And the picture of him below, he doesn't focus on this. And in fact, I've never heard him say this, and he's okay with me saying it out loud, but he's lost over 100 pounds. But that weight loss is nowhere near the most important thing that Fudge has gone through in terms of his successes with our program. He, in a number of different videos that we have on our YouTube channel, I'm not going to show videos right now, but the fitness impacts that the physical maintenance program have provided with him have helped reduce anxiety and depression, have altered his mood, and have improved his focus. The key here is that he didn't say anything about what he necessarily looks like in terms of his changes, but it went on to physically transform him, but mentally, emotionally, and in game, it's helped everything that he's done. One of the things that I like to say about Fudge is that not only is he a super intelligent guy who also happens to dropped out of high school to become a professional esports player, probably not the best audience to tell this to, but his focus was so focused on esports that if he had, excuse me, if he had the opportunity to go directly to college and play with a high performing esports team, he probably would have taken that. And I joke with him before, like, he should be at MIT. I'm not sure he knew necessarily what it takes to get into MIT, but he is such a smart guy. And of course he's a smart guy. Like, we know that the level of cognitive ability in a high performing esports player like Fudge guarantees that is the truth. And so over the years, he's physically changed, but he's become a better leader. He is the person that when they win a match, he's the guy that the LCS studios want on stage because he's confident. He likes holding the microphone. And over the past 5 years, he's a person that went from someone that did not want to be on stage to actually being the one that wants to be the spokesperson for the team. So he's a true leader in that sense. And that's one way that this web of interconnectivity works to the positive. Another story that I'm going to tell with Hadi here, who again doesn't ever lead with his physical transformations in terms of the changes. You can see that there's a physical transformation with this guy, but in this video that in the picture below, I'm interviewing him, and when I said to him, what does being more physically fit, was the way I phrased the question, what does that physical fitness bring to the game? And what he quickly said is, being fit helped me realize a lot of things about health and well-being. And one of those was that it has to be holistic. And what he's taken from these 5 pillars of health, really, he works on all of them, but the mental conditioning aspect of the transformation that he made is what he wanted to talk about. And what he said was, because we do yoga, workouts, and meditation, he's found that he's more confident outside the game. So what that did was his physical, mental, and confidence changes in the greater world, in the bigger sense of things, helped him not second guess things in the way he lived his life. And he found that taking that, not second guessing himself, just being more confident and being decisive in the outside world, he took that into the game. And can you imagine, directing your team and over comms, talking to them and being super decisive? And if something goes well, it leads again to that successful feedback loop. And if things don't go well, think about how one's mind works. Maybe your own mind works. When something doesn't go well, when something doesn't go well for me, I start second guessing should I have done that? Oh, maybe I should have made a different decision. In a top ranked Overwatch match, the second that you delay, it's gone. Like you're done. So he is making better decisions for himself. He's way less second guessing himself, and he's got more mental clarity. So since the Overwatch League is dissolved, he's now playing with another professional league, and he's taken what he's gained with FitGamer right into that. What did Hadi do? Something that we're going to do right now. Hadi and some of the other players wanted to know if they could improve their gameplay right now, what could they do immediately to change that? Because fitness takes a while, right? It takes some time incorporating changes in sleep, changes in nutrition, changes in just everyday lifestyle. But one of the first things that I tell players, and I told the pros, and they did it, they incorporated it right away in their training days, was it's not just that 1 hour of physical activity that makes a difference. Just like it's not one meal, one nutritional serving, or one night of sleep that impacts everything. It's what you do day in, day out. And so I know that what you do day in and day out is play video games. And so here's what FitGamer calls a couple of quick drills that you can incorporate as exercise all day long. In fact, from this mat at 9 p.m. at night, 3 to 4 days a week, I work with a Malaysian esports team, leading them in physical maintenance workouts, on the other side of the globe. One of the things that we give them is, again, these quick drills. So what I'd like you to do at home right now, we've been sitting for about 24 minutes together. Go ahead and stand up. And I want you just to swing your arms back and forth. If you are someone who doesn't want to, or otherwise can't or won't stand up, you can do the same exact thing while you're sitting in the chair. And I want you just to swing your arms back and forth. And while we do this, I'm going to continue just telling you what we're doing and why we're doing it. So imagine you finish a match, and I'll use League as an example. You've got 8 to 10 minutes before you load back in the game and start your draft. And so you've got 10 minutes. You go to the bathroom, you get a drink, maybe you walk outside and get a little sunlight in your eyes, and then you get right back to your station. And instead of sitting down and start getting back in it, you have to start moving, because right now you're swinging your arms back and forth, and you have undergone swinging back and forth, right over left, left over right. Again, if you're sitting, you can do this, but I prefer, if you can, to stand up. And just by standing up and moving your arms, this minimal amount of movement, and it doesn't matter if it's the forward, backward, I'll show you what I'm doing from the side. It doesn't matter if it's the crossovers. The fact is that you've increased your circulation, the blood is moving through your body, your heart rate, your blood pressure have all changed. And your blood chemistry has done something different than what it was doing by sitting in your desk, dwelling over the loss that you just underwent. All right, so those are just arm swings, right? Anyone can do them. If you have a sore shoulder, you can just do it to a lesser extent. You can just shake out your hands, anything that gets the blood flowing. The next one we're going to do is call a set of leg swings. I'm going to hold onto the wall, or you can hold on to your chair, or you don't have to hold on to anything. And just take one leg and swing it back and forth. Make sure you're not going to kick your desk or a chair or anyone next to you. I'm going to show you from the side. And so imagine just getting up to move for 2 or 3 or 4 minutes. Now let's go to the other side. Again, I'm lightly increasing my heart rate, my breathing rate, my respiration has gone up a bit. Blood pressure changes, the flow of blood into the brain and the heart. And then go ahead and rest. So those are leg swings and arm swings. This next one takes a little bit more energy, and you can do it to the extent that you either want to or need to or are able to. And I'm going to start with just shaking my hands. And then I'm going to start moving my elbows and shrugging my shoulders. And then I'm going to start bending my knees a little bit. This is a 20-second lead in a warm up to what we're going to do that's called the Simon Shuffle. If we had more time, I'd give you the background on why we call it that. But now you're just going to move your feet off the ground, and you can do anything. If you're with a couple of people, yeah, you're going to feel silly and you're going to laugh at each other. If you want to go right, right, left, left, right, left, right, left, any pattern where you're kind of imitating jumping rope, or imitating being in a boxing stance, or imitating being cold, or standing outside the porta potty that's locked, or in a big line. So you're just bouncing up and down, and you're shrugging your shoulders. There doesn't have to be any rhythm to this or coordination, although we do quite a bit of rhythm, coordination, and agility drills, because that, when someone can't do something and they learn it, it of course lays down new neural pathways in the brain that can't help but improve your game. So we're doing this for another 20 seconds. Again, if this hurts your knees, you don't have to jump. If it hurts your hips or your back, you can just do the arms. But either way, regardless of the intensity or the lack of intensity you do this with, if you spend what we've spent now is about 4 minutes of quick drills, you've done something that FitGamer encourages you to do, and that many players from pro organizations to federations across the world do as well. So I'm not going to sit down again, but what I want you to feel now is this tingling in your hands, maybe in your feet. There has been a chemical change in your brain and your body over what we just did in the last 6 minutes. Do you exercise? Do you get any physical, or do you get much physical activity? Do you go for a walk? Do you play sports? Do you train? Do you do anything active? And if the answer is no, then what we just did is your first workout. Like, that is exercise. And it's fine to do that little amount of exercise. In fact, so many people will say, oh, it's just 2 minutes, or it's just 4 minutes. But imagine if you were to play 6 or 7 matches throughout the day, and you were to do that between every single one, that could be as much as 30 minutes of physical activity, 30 minutes of exercise. Again, under that principle of success leads to success, that can help you get the motivation to decide to do a workout. In fact, I'm going to go back to screen share for a second. The FitGamer program, really by way of the app. And if, I hesitate to sound like an advertisement for the FitGamer app, but go to either Google Play or Apple Store, download FitGamer app. You can see what it's all about. But essentially, we deliver content, education. I'll do this first. Content, education, videos, advice on all of the 5 pillars of health. And there's pro teams, there's universities, and there are international federations across the world that are following the FitGamer app and using that program. One of them, I'm going to mention it before I talk about Josh at Oklahoma. The leader on the leaderboard for the FitGamer app right now is a guy named Sean Atha, who's a father of a senior in high school, who came to us and said, hey, I'm having problems connecting with my son. All he wants to do is play League of Legends. What should I do? And he had the mindset of, he knew that he had to do something as the dad. So he started watching League of Legends. He started learning as much as he could. He said, hey, I heard about this thing, FitGamer. He did a call with us. He got in the app, and he's now on the leaderboard for FitGamer. So anyone can do this app. You don't actually have to be a gamer. But this is a father, and it's for any parents out there that want to connect with their kids. There are pro gamers, there are high-level esport athletes that are in the FitGamer app, but number 1 on the leaderboard, and this is kind of cool because he just overtook the second place person, who I'll talk about next. That's why I opened it. Number one on the Fit Gamer leaderboard with a score of 91 out of 100 is Sean Atha, the father of a League of Legends player and a kid who, as a result of a lot of the changes that happened in his life that came about with his dad starting the Fit Gamer app and with Ryan doing the Fit Gamer program as well. He started an esports league at his high school. So a school that did not have esports now has over 90 people signed up for the club that he started here in his senior year, and that's in Northern California. Number 2 on the Fit Gamer leaderboard now is Amon Green. I'm going to hold it up right there. Amon Green is currently known as the esports director at Nebraska, which is the irony that I'm showing you Josh Reisenberg from Oklahoma, obvious competitors there. But Amon Green is a former NFL football player for the Green Bay Packers. I don't even know if his second love was esports and gaming, but he retired from professional sports and now runs the gaming program at Nebraska and is a big user of the Fit Gamer app. Josh Reisenberg, who is again the esports director at University of Oklahoma, you can see here, implemented the Fit Gamer training program for a semester with his Overwatch team. And you can see the results. After one semester of Fit Gamer, the average Overwatch team GPA, there were 2 teams, went from 3.0 to 3.3. By the end of the year, 3 players changed majors to ones they previously thought they weren't capable of because they would be too challenging. So one of those players moved into astrophysics as a major. 2 of the Grandmasters became top 100 and 1 master moved up to Grandmaster. And for most of these players, this is the first time that they ever went to the gym together. Some of them perhaps had played sports before, but most of the players on his team had never been into the fitness facility on the campus, and they had never stepped foot in a gym in their entire lives. So this is one of the positive programs that, in speaking with Josh, reviewing the end of a semester with us just this past year. All right. So within the Fit Gamer app, we work on developing all 5 pillars of health. You can start on any one of the pillars. So it can be a bit for some people overwhelming to jump into something right away and say, hey, I'm going to take on all of these things. I'm going to take on changing my sleep and changing my diet. I'm going to get exercise. I'm going to start watching some of the mental conditioning content that's in the app. And it's fine to jump in and do everything right away, but it's also a bit overwhelming. And so we encourage people perhaps to just start with something like the quick drills. Some players like to get into some of the performance review features. Some players like to just do the metrics. So you can input the amount of sleep that you had, the type of food that you ate. We make everything really simple so that you don't have to do either all of it, or it doesn't, and it doesn't need to overwhelm you in terms of the amount of stuff that you work with. So what we're continuing to do at Fit Gamer is bring not just the app, but this way of living into the lives of professional players, players that people that are on their devices a lot, just because we understand, again, that not everyone wants to be a professional esport athlete, but anyone that wants to be involved in the gaming community that plays, whether it's mobile devices, is 60% of the world is playing their games on mobile devices, whether it's console or whether it's on a PC desktop device, we can work with you. What else do I have to talk about? Really, the success stories continue to come in on an individual level. So we have people that pick up the app on their own, or sometimes it's parents that say, hey, I want my kid to do what they love and their passion is gaming, so I'm going to allow them to do that. But I want to make sure that we're taking care of not just their physical, but their mental health as well. And so as a way to assist parents, students, schools, again, country federations we're working with for the past couple of years, we've been going to the World Esports Championships to bring exercise, yoga, meditation, pre-game preparation to all of these types of players, and really anywhere. We want to go to where the gamers are so we can not only stem the world's most vexing problem, this chronic disease that plagues the planet, really, but again, primarily through the lens of we want to help you get better at the game. And so why not do everything? I got to listen to a number of different presenters today, and Michael Brooks talked about John Wooden in terms of like sports don't cause people to be good people. Sports don't create this in people, but sports and the competition that is within sport helps bring these things out of people. So what we know is that someone that plays video games, that is competitive, that pushes themselves to be better, a lot of things are going to be revealed. And what we know about gamers whose fit gamer scores go up, it doesn't just make you a better player. It doesn't just improve your health and fitness across those 5 different pillars, but it just tends to make you a better person. And that's really what we want to do. And I think those in the high school and collegiate coaching world agree that while not everyone's going to be a professional gamer, we all want to be as competent and as good at the thing that we're passionate about. And so that's what we're doing here at Fit Gamer. I'm going to bring Josh in to see if he has any comments, questions, or some direction that we can go from here.
I'm blurry here. There we go. There I am. I was breaking a sweat there. You had me working out in the middle of my office. Now I got some exercises to do.
So and the important thing is that you don't need anything. You just need the desire to stand up out of your chair. And that's why I think it's, while the content in the app is in sort of a gym setting, because we do a lot of stuff that does involve some weights and things, this is the gym that most of the players exist in that I'm working with. This is like a tool is this towel right here.
Yeah.
And so I'm not using a barbell, but I'm taking a towel or a shirt or some piece of fabric and I'm stretching out the shoulders. And if you can't do this first, then pull-ups aren't going to work.
Yeah.
Right. So start where you're at. And if where you're at is in the gaming station or in the library or just, in your collegiate esports program office or in the rec center, then do it together.
I'm gonna have to do some do 10 reps of my printer. I've got office equipment. I can I'll start weighing it to see what that costs. Well, now, I guess one of the things I'm curious about is what is like the biggest barrier? What is the biggest excuse or barrier that you typically encounter with players with like getting started on making changes in this direction?
I think the biggest barrier 5-6 years ago was, I'm a gamer. We don't do this.
Yeah.
Like, this is not what we do. And it's funny that I come up with that phrase, this is not what we do, because Cloud9 consistently says, this is what we do. This is just what we do. It's when, and I'm going to make a plug here for you collegiate gamers and those that are in high school as well that play competitively, is you have it so much more difficult than the pros do from a scheduling perspective. Like, you're not only playing your game, but you're managing school and, all of the stuff that goes into that. Cloud9 wakes up, they walk to the workout, they train for an hour, they have an hour off, they eat their meal, they have VOD review, they scrim for 2-hour block, they have an hour off, they VOD review again, they scrim again for 2 hours. Like, their schedule is precisely set up and it's embedded in their schedule. Like, it's just part of what they do. So currently the biggest problem, the biggest barrier I would say to entry is people are unwilling to change their schedule to fit it in. And usually the way we understand that is that we hear people say, oh, I don't have time for this. Or when am I going to do this? Well, we just did it. Like, when are you going to do it? Like, I see many people go directly from playing a game. The game ends, the match ends. And instead of talking to their teammates, they're already streaming. Like, they've logged into another game and they're in Discord. Like, you got to get up, you got to move. And so many of we'll say the stereotypes or the things that happen to people that do things, I'm not even going to limit it to gamers, but people that do things for too often that are then detrimental to their health, say that they don't have time to do it. So make the time. I mean, it's there. And really, if you use something like the app and you say, okay, what I'm going to focus on now for this week is the sleep part. I'm going to watch the videos in the content library about sleep, and I'm going to see what I can do just to not become a 10 out of 10 on improving your sleep, but move from a 0 to a 1. Again, the reference of going from 0 to 1 is the biggest step. And so make that commitment to one pillar, move yourself from a 0 to a 1.
Well, I think that's the biggest difference from what I'm hearing you say versus what I hear a lot of, and this is with not just fitness, but anybody that's passionate about a certain aspect of like well-being or whether it's mental health or physical health or eating habits or whatever. It's kind of an all or nothing. They always present it as, well, you have to work out at least an hour a day, and well, you only worked out 59 minutes. Well, where's minute 60? Why didn't you? It's always this kind of approach. Well, if a player, I think that can be discouraging for players, because if they have an expectation they can't meet, because these are lifelong habits they've developed that are bad. I mean, it didn't overnight, they didn't develop these bad habits. If they're 20 years old, they've done this for 20 years. And so for them to change even incrementally from that 0 to 1 is a great approach to feeling good about themselves, feeling positive, feeling like they've made it, and then pushing themselves to 2 and 3.
Yeah, and you can't do it alone. Like, or I should say this: some people can. I'll say, why do it alone?
Yeah.
Like, take somebody along for the ride. When again, like I said, when the League of Legends team meets in the driveway, it's not 5 players. When the team that we're working with in Malaysia meets us, well, I was very clear with them. No, it's not just the 5 players. It's the manager, it's the coach, it's the whoever assists them, whoever is with them day in and day out. I mean, imagine having the provost of your university say, meet me at the gym Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Imagine having the FaceTime with the CEO of your company, and you get to sort of show them what kind of person you are in terms of, I'm going to show up on time. I'm going to be diligent with what I do. I'm going to be proud of the hard work that I display. Like, that's a great way to earn, I guess, street cred among your peers.
Well, it levels the playing field as well. I mean, you've got everybody is working on the same task at hand, even though they have different levels or different, again, the CEO and the underlings are the same in that particular situation. They're all working towards the same goal.
That's great. And so one of the other things that it's really good for is just starting the conversation about health. Where do we start? With Cloud9, they start by working out. They're not trying to adapt sleep schedule. They subtly adapt diet because they have a chef that comes in that does the meals. So they're basically providing the food. But on your team, like, what can you do to make your team more effective at what they do? That, just like Josh Reisenberg, it's going to trickle down is maybe the wrong direction, but it's going to bleed out into everything you do, which is great. Start where you want to start, pick something, pick a person to do it with, and move yourself along that path. I mean, it really makes a difference.
Yeah, I think that's great. And I think that, for high school programs and for, collegiate programs, I mean, obviously you've developed a great tool to be able to sort of manage that and to have facilitated, kind of oversight of it, to see how things are going and to see how people are progressing and at what pace. But I just like the mentality of, if you got a student that they're really resistant to this, by saying you need to go full throttle to a 10 is probably not the way that you're going to get them there. So being able to kind of pace it for every player a little differently, and some are going to, gravitate towards, a faster speed or a different pace, or maybe they want to focus on different aspects. So this is a really great way to do that. Mike, it's been great having you. I thank you so much for presenting. Obviously you've got a great system that you're working on here. I can't wait to implement it even for our collegiate. I know we talked a little bit about getting this going on for our program. So hopefully it's gonna affect some high school students that otherwise might be. I don't want to say they're at a disadvantage, but if I had a student that in high school that was being recruited that had gone through a program like this and had developed these skills, they're way more marketable. They are way more. They have a bigger advantage to these college programs if they'd already done that work. So that's really awesome. All right. Anybody who missed any sessions, you can always go to levelmeupnow.com, see any of the recordings or see information for the next set of webinars or conferences we might do. Those are to be announced. So thanks so much for being here, everybody. And thank you, Mike, once again, and have a great one.